Auburn Associate Head Coach Stephen Pearl with us now. Welcome in, Coach. Congrats on the wins over the weekend and being in the Sweet 16 again. I know that is just part of the road to the prize, but I guess every time you advance, you breathe a sigh of relief and feel good about it for at least a moment.
Yeah, no, it was more of a relief to beat Creighton than anything. Just hadn't been back there since 2019, so it was good to get over that hump. And obviously we beat a really good Creighton team who, you know, we thought has been playing some of their best basketball. Basically went into Lexington and played a road game against Louisville and beat them pretty handily. So had our hands full and beat a really good team to get to the next round.
Yeah, you and I were texting after your win over Alabama State and Creighton beat Louisville because there had been so much talk about Louisville playing, like you said, a home game and Louisville being ranked number 10 and all of that talk. And you and I were texting like, dang, Creighton just kind of ran them off the court. I mean, I know just your first blush of watching Creighton live, you knew that was going to be a handful.
Yeah, I mean, watched them in the Big East tournament, take care of Connecticut pretty handily and, show up to Lexington and played a Louisville team who had, I don't even know what the numbers were, but they had won a ton of their last like 23, like 21 of their last 23. And, you walk into that gym, there was 18,000 Louisville fans in there and they ran them off the damn floor. So, we knew that it was going to be a challenge. The way they were shooting the ball, they had made 9 threes in the first half of that game. They had an All-American on their roster in Kalkbrenner, and then they had a point guard in Ashworth that we felt like may have been the best point guard, one of the best point guards we had played all year when you look at Braden Smith and Mark Sears and Zakai Ziegler. Like, this Ashworth dude was as good as all of them. And, we knew that we had a big challenge ahead of us. And, we, first half, we're down 2 and they had made 9 threes. Went into the locker room at halftime feeling pretty good about that, because yesterday they had made 9 threes in the first half and they were beating that team by 15 to 20. So it was, found ourselves in a unique situation at halftime. But I thought overall we played really well. We played like we looked against Kentucky a few weeks ago. And that was refreshing to see, and I thought our guys responded to the challenge.
Speaking of challenges, I mean, we played it on the show on the post-game interview with Andy. You were pretty vocal about your disappointment. BP was as well in the post-game. I assume, obviously, that had already been said in the locker room. I don't think you just come out and say something that hasn't been said in the locker room. It's rare I've heard you that frustrated over the way the team played. They obviously responded to it. But that was pretty rare frustration that I've seen out of you.
Well, it actually wasn't. It hadn't been said in the locker room yet. I went straight from the handshake line to Andy, and I was pissed. Just being totally transparent. I felt like last year when we lost to Yale, we let some things kind of catch up to us that hadn't been addressed, and I did not want that to happen this year, so I felt like it was in the best interest of everyone that I just call it out. And Dylan did the same thing and BP did the same thing. So it wasn't like a premeditated conversation that we had as a group or as a staff. We all felt that way individually, that this needs to be laid out there because we don't want to go into this Creighton game having it not be addressed and then us lose the game and us look back and say, damn, I wish I would have called that out a little bit sooner. So, and it wasn't just a message to our best players. It was a message to the whole team because, if we can go out and publicly, confront 2 of our best players or our 2 best players, the rest of the guys are going to be on notice too. Like, damn, we got to lock in as well. So I'm glad we did it. I think Dylan, to his credit, did it more than anybody. And did it in front of the team as well. And I really think that woke our guys up because our guys respect Dylan. In a sense, they fear Dylan a little bit because Dylan, he's not a guy you really want to mess with. But more than anything, they respect him. And, when he says something, guys listen. And I thought our guys really did listen to the messaging that was being put out there after Alabama State. And for us, it's about continuing that same energy and that same motivation that we had going into Creighton, because we can't just let up on it. 'Cause we won one good game. We obviously, have a lot of tough opponents coming up if we continue to win.
Auburn Associate Head Coach Stephen Pearl with us on the Shannara Trial Attorneys Hotline. So you move on to Atlanta now. That building has been really, really good to you. Now, those have been December and November games. They have not been NCAA tournament games. But I would imagine as a team, there's something about being comfortable in a building, and I cannot imagine that State Farm Arena wouldn't be a place of comfort for this Auburn team as well as you have performed there.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to be great to be so close to home. But ask Louisville how that worked out for them. You know what I mean? Like it's all about matchups, and Creighton was a bad matchup for Louisville. And obviously it showed. They were up by 20 points a couple times in that game. So as good as it is to be close to home, we're playing a Michigan team that's won 5 straight quad one games. They're playing some of their best basketball of the season. So they got 2 7-footers that they put in ball screens together. It's a unique challenge. And then they got a bunch of guards that can, really mix it up. Guys that can really get to the basket. They got some streaky shooters on their roster. One of their Roddy Gale made 4 or 5 threes in their last game. He made 3 all conference play. So there's a confidence to them right now that they are playing with that, regardless of if we were playing in Neville Arena or in State Farm Arena, we're going to have our hands full. But, it'll be great to see a bunch of Auburn folks in that building come Friday.
Yeah, it's an expensive ticket, as you, I'm sure, well know. I'm sure you've been hit up for a few. Have you?
Yep.
Yeah. So you've been hit
Well,
up.
yeah, I mean, I got to my phone after the game, and I had like 20 texts like, "Oh, we're coming to Atlanta." I'm like, "All right, yeah, I hope you enjoy the city because you're not getting in the building." But it'll be it's a tough ticket, and freaking hotel rooms are over $1,000 a night, and tickets to the game are just absurd. So it's a great site because obviously you have Auburn and Ole Miss, 2 pretty local teams, so their fan bases will travel for that. But then you got 2 really good basketball programs in Michigan and Michigan State. So that's going to be an incredible environment for college basketball all weekend in the city of Atlanta.
So I've heard from a lot of Auburn fans about these 2 7-footers. That has been talked about a lot in the Auburn fans I've encountered. When you watch Michigan on tape, give me an offense that they're comparable to that you have faced. If Auburn fans have watched you play they do a lot of things Michigan does.
I'm going to be totally transparent with you. I have not watched 1 second of Michigan because all I've been doing for the past 36 hours is on the phone with the transfer portal stuff. Coach Burgomaster is the one that has this scout. I'm going to dive into him a little bit more today. But I would say, just from the stuff I've seen live, they run a lot of 5-out motion where it's just a lot of passing and screening and ball screening, and they're just working through each other. And Ole Miss has a similar type of style in that regard with their offense, but no one's going to be able to trot out 2 7-footers, and then those guys set ball screens for each other, and their best passer is the one that's in the ball screen in the 7-foot Danny Wolf. So it's very unique. It's not like anything we've really seen all year because there's not a lot of 4 or 5 ball screening teams in our league. So it'll be way different. Luckily for us, we have, some good size on the front line with Dylan, Janai, and Cheney. But they're going to have their hands full because, those are 2 of the best bigs in all of college basketball. And obviously we got to win that battle for us to have a chance to win the game.
I did not intend to speak on this, but since you brought it up, why does the transfer portal open during the NCAA tournament? I understand there are times on the calendar where classes, I get it. Like during the bowl season and the college football playoff, the semester has ended and guys are trying to get where they're going. We're in March. What's the practicality of having the transfer portal open right now?
Yeah, what's the practicality of that, and what's the practicality of Creighton having to play Louisville an hour from their campus? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't understand. For me, I just feel like for everyone to have, to be playing on a level playing field, like it's just got to open the day after the national championship game. and then we all get a month to just go crazy in the portal. But like right now, it's really difficult for teams that are still playing because, obviously we're trying to get ready for, one of the best teams in the country in Michigan. At the same time, we're fielding and making, 100 calls yesterday, trying, because for us, we're losing a lot of guys. As we have 10 seniors, 10 senior citizens, according to the fans on Twitter. So everyone's really worried about that late tip on Friday. They're worried it's going to be past their bedtime. So, but no, I mean, we have to replace a lot of guys. So obviously, we got to go get 6 really good players, and we're having to spend a lot of time evaluating, making sure we make good roster decisions, because that's one of the reasons that we've won 5 championships in the last 8 years, is because we've done it with 5 totally different teams, but we've made great evaluations on players to bring into this program. So, it puts us at a little bit of a disadvantage because we need to spend, way more time on Michigan, but we're having to spend a ton of time on this portal because we obviously want to continue to be relevant in college basketball and in the SEC.
Dusty May is a guy, I don't know how familiar you are with him, but he obviously, I mean, look, to take a Florida Atlantic team to the Final Four is an incredible job of coaching. Here he is back at the Sweet 16. I mean, there are guys that just seem like they know how to coach in the postseason, and he strikes me as one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Dusty since I first became an assistant at Auburn. He was at Florida. We went on a European recruiting trip, and we hung out and spent a lot of time together. And he and I have become buddies since then, and have nothing but a ton of respect for him and the job that he and his staff do. Working their way up from FAU, taking that team to a Final Four, and then obviously in his first year at Michigan, as a brand new roster, completely reconstructed team. And they obviously win the Big Ten tournament title, and beat 2 really good teams in the first round, and UC San Diego and Texas A&M to make it to a Sweet 16 in year 1. So the guy knows how to coach. He runs good stuff. He understands how to get the most out of his players, and he's one of the best up and coming coaches in all of college basketball right now, and will continue to have a ton of success. And we're obviously. It's going to be quite the challenge for us, playing such a good team and that's playing well at the right time.
Before you go, you played this conference all season long. I know you cannot be surprised to see 7 teams in the Sweet 16. I would ask you, though, did you ever think you'd live to see a day where you would have 7 teams from one conference in the Sweet 16?
I mean, no, especially the SEC. Having played in the SEC, it was so top heavy. When I was at Tennessee, there was always 4 or 5 really good teams, and the rest of the league was just okay. But that just speaks to the depth of what this league was. Obviously, in the first round, there was a lot of people that were talking about how overrated the league was. But you look at the top half of the league and how strong the league is, and we get 7 teams in, and then you add Arkansas and Ole Miss into that mix. That speaks volumes about how great this league was all season long. And it was, really tough Saturday and Sunday for all the SEC haters out there. But no, I mean, it's just a lot of credit goes to the commissioner. A lot of credit goes to the athletic directors in this league that went out and hired the right guys, to come in and, hire. Shout out goes out to the alumni and the folks that are raising the money to allow us to compete in the NIL space, because obviously that has a lot to do with it in today's day and age. And, we beat up on each other all year, to allow us to get ready for this tournament. And, obviously it helped carry 7 of us through to the round of 16 and, have a chance to continue to set and break records in the next round if teams continue to win. So not surprised this year, but if you were to ask me 5 to 10 years ago, would we ever see 7 teams in the Sweet 16? I would have a hard time believing it.
Yeah, pretty wild, no doubt. All right, Auburn taking on Michigan late night over in Atlanta. The bus ride for the Auburn team, and a ton of Auburn fans waiting on them there, I am sure. Coach, best of luck to you in the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. We always appreciate the time.
Appreciate you guys. Talk soon.
All right, take care. That is Stephen Pearl, the associate head coach of the Auburn Tigers. Joins us weekly, as we always appreciate him doing, on the Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys Hotline.